What up, everybody? This is Kingdom Key 23 here, and welcome to my next Let's Play of the Super Mario Land Duology. That's right, I'm going to be playing through both Mario Land 1 and 2 back to back. And that's because they're relatively short games, so I'd figured, hey, let's make this Let's Play a little bit longer by combining them both. So you'll notice right off the bat that the game is looking a lot less ugly green and a lot more colorful. The sprite work is looking better, and that's because I'm playing hacked versions of both Mario Land games. There's Super Mario Land DX, so obviously inspired by Link's Awakening DX. They're both made by Torres. He did a fantastic job on them. It just breathes a whole new life into these games, especially Super Mario Land 2, because there's another little feature in there that I cannot wait to show off. But for right now, we are going to jump into the first Super Mario Land. So with this run of the game, I'm going to be looking for all of the hidden secret bonus rooms, and there's one coming up right now. And this is a nice little nod to the original Super Mario Brothers. So let's just keep on moving. Whoa, did you guys just see that? It looked like Mario was phasing in and out of reality. It's like, was he having a out-of-body experience or something? It's like, forget the magic mushrooms here. It's like we just go down one of the tubes and we're like, our souls just separate from our bodies. Well, I guess if we were to do something like that, it'd be better than eating one of those mushrooms, because I don't know where they've been, and they have eyes. They're always staring at me. I'd feel awkward eating one of those. I mean, even if I was like on a deserted island and I came across one of those mushrooms and they're just staring me right in the face, making me feel guilty for eating them, I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna starve. Sorry. I can't do it. It's always great coming back to this game. Like, despite what people say about it, like, oh, it hasn't aged that well, I definitely agree with them in that regard. There are definitely some aspects that have not held up about it, but the thing is, the reason I really like it, and I'm not afraid to admit this, is because of nostalgia. It's really pure nostalgia here. But, I mean, there are some good elements, but I just always get a feeling of, like, childhood whenever I play it, because here's the thing. Super Mario Land is the first game I've ever owned. Well, that and Tetris for the Game Boy. Well, let me explain this. So, the NES comes out in 1985. I was born in 87, and the NES was my sister. So, I would just play off of the NES when she wasn't playing it and play whatever. Sometimes we'd play games together, and let's see if I could... Yes! Got it! I usually stink at those. I usually always go up or down the ladder, and they always set me into, like, a Super Ball flower here. It's... I got really lucky there, but knowing how these Let's Plays go, I'm gonna get hit by it eventually. Just you watch. I bet money on it. Just stay tuned, because I'm sure the anger is going to ensue, and it's gonna be hilarious to you guys. Maybe not so much me, but you know how I am. You know how I am. I always love to have fun. I might ham it up a little bit, but I'm just having a lot of fun with you guys. But yeah, so I would always play the NES off of my sister's NES, and then eventually I got the Game Boy. It was my first console, and of course I got this game in Tetris. I mean, it'd be a crime not to mention Tetris. I think everybody had Tetris when that game came out, because it still is addicting. Like playing Tetris 99, it's awesome. I love it. But I just got into Super Mario Land so much, I would play it constantly. And the thing is, it's also the first game I ever beat, so you can forgive me if I have a very soft spot for it, because the first time I felt like that sense of gratification that, hey, I actually was able to make it to the end of this game and see the ending and actually save the princess, it was really awesome. You gotta keep this in mind too. NES games were really hard, and that hasn't changed. They still are really freaking hard, especially games like Ninja Gaiden and Contra. So I was never able to beat them, like, even as a kid. And, as a kid, we don't have, like, those same reflexes we have now and that same sort of rational thinking. Because when you're a kid, you're just like, oh, I want to blow shit up. I just want to be a cool ninja and slice all the bad guys down. So that's kind of the mentality we have. So that's why I never really got through those games as a kid. I really should now, although Ninja Gaiden requires a lot of practice, especially with the respawning enemies. Oh boy, that one is gonna be a lot of fun. Maybe one day I'll take a revisit to Ninja Gaiden. But yeah, that's why I was just so excited when I finally beat this game. Just my first game overall, and I wanted to celebrate it too. It's like, let's go out for ice cream or something. It sounds silly, but to me as a kid, it was a big deal being able to beat your first game. It's something I've always, like, carried with me, and why I still have fond memories of playing this game. But I think what I like about it, too, is it has kind of a different, I want to say, atmosphere from the other Mario games. It still feels like a traditional Mario game, but kind of the visual style is different, the music is different. There's just something about it that's unique. For a long time, we never really got another Mario game that was inspired by real-world settings. Like, right now, we're, like, in Egypt, and then there's eventually a stage that takes place in China and Easter Island. It really feels cool. It's kind of like identifiable in a way. It kind of reminds me of Earthbound almost, because that's like an RPG that takes place in a real-world setting, but still has enough goofy elements to keep it in that fantasy world. Yeah, it wasn't really until Super Mario Odyssey where that whole idea of visiting real-world inspired locations came to fruition. I mean, they tried it with Mario's Missing, but that was more of an edutainment game, and dang it, I need to rot my brain with video games. I don't have time for this shit. I don't want to worry about the real world. I don't want to be doing my maths. I just want to be playing my video games. Is that too hard to ask for? Come on. Oh, and this is the first appearance of Daisy, too. That's probably the end of the game. We've saved her, and we all live happily ever after, and oh, gee, who saw that coming? I wonder if this is going to be a recurring theme throughout Super Mario Land, just like all the other games, like especially the first Super Mario Brothers with our princesses in another castle. Well, you know what, I have to give him credit, that's a bit more trolly, so I kind of appreciate that more. She just turns into another like creature or something, instead of Toad being like, our princess is in another castle! Oh. You know, major props for the voice actor who does Toad. That has to be so hard on the throat. I mean, it can be annoying, but at the same time, it's kind of unique, and it's really one of a kind, if you ask me. I can definitely see why people would have problems with that. Like, even Toad in Mario Party sounded better. He was like, "Yahoo!" And it was kind of, like, cute and innocent, whereas I was like, "Hey, Mario, what's up?" See, I can't even do that voice. Actually, it was probably inspired by the Super Mario Brothers cartoon, Super Mario Brothers Super Show, because Toad had that very voice. And they're like, "Oh, that one sounds better. Let's just go with that." I'm sure the voice actor will not have any repercussions from talking in that voice all the time, you know? Okay, so I feel like I've gotten off track here. What was I talking about? Well, I guess more Super Mario Land, of course, obviously, duh, but like I said, I still have fond memories of it. Oh yeah, I was talking about the, how, like, it was unique and stuff, sort of its visual style of visiting real worlds. Then I talked about Super Mario Odyssey, where I feel like they perfected it finally, where they actually gave us some nice new locations, especially New Donk City. It was just fun just to jump around and visit all of the tall skyscrapers and stuff. There was another attempt with Mario's Wacky World, but you know how that panned out, because we made it for the CDI, so that's like a death wish right there. It's like, hey, we're gonna make this awesome new Mario game for the CDI. You know, the same one that had Hotel Mario and those 3 Zelda games, Wand of Gamelon and the Faces of Evil. Oh boy. I mean, I definitely see why someone would want to own the CDI for, you know, if you're like a hardcore video game collector and you have to own every console, but I wouldn't see the point to it. Actually, that worked out in our favor. I'm actually not doing too bad. I shouldn't say that. I need to shut up right now, because it's going to come back and bite me on the ass. Now, how appropriate I use that Jaws quote, because we are in a level that has water underneath. There are no sharks, sadly, so I mean, it still kind of fits the reference, maybe? I don't know. There's no sharks coming out to grab me. I mean, this isn't Mario 3 with Big Bertha. And I like the music too, though I do find it funny that, for the Starman theme, they used a can. I mean, I don't know, I guess it was kind of, I don't know how much money went into this game, but I guess they were running out of time, so it's like, oh shit, let's use a royalty-free song or something. A public domain song, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, we can get away with that. Because even the game over screen is Rockabye Baby. And yeah, I'm sure some of you are, I'm a little ashamed to admit that, because, you know, I did die. I did get a game over when I was a kid, but It's pretty much impossible now, given how ridiculously easy this game is. And yeah, that's the thing too, this game is ridiculously easy. Because it is short, and I don't know, just the level structure kind of repeats itself. I mean, the expert mode does help it a little bit, but I'm kind of not going to show that off just because you have to play the game just to get to that point. I don't feel like going through the game twice just to do that. Just play it once, that's all you really need. And yeah, the visuals too, they're definitely outdated. I mean, this mod helps put, like I said, breathes whole new life into it. It's really, really good stuff. Definitely one of the big reasons too is the controls. They feel, it's hard to describe them. They feel slippery, very loose compared to, you know, the mainline Mario games. This is something I should point out too, which is very important. Shigeru Miyamoto did not work on this game. Yeah, keep in mind that at the time the Game Boy was in development, there was another certain 16-bit machine. This is really working out for me. No, stop getting confident here. And oh, the underwater section, the shooting sections, I love these. It adds so much new variety to the game. But yeah, Shigeru Miyamoto was working on something for a certain 16-bit console, 2 games rather, that were going to compete with another console that was on the market. You know, featuring a certain Blue Hedgehog. That's why on Nintendo R&D 1 did that. That stands for Research and Development. Look at me, I'm smirked. For just knowing the full title of an abbreviated thing. Yeah, I'm very smart for that. Something anyone could figure out. Boy, I'm just putting myself down today. This is not a good sign. Let's just keep moving on and shoot all the blocks here. So you can definitely tell why it has a different style. At least when Super Mario Land 2, they kind of learned from their mistakes, and it feels closer to, like, a more, contemporary Mario game, at least for that time anyway, especially like something like Super Mario World and Mario 3. We'll get more into that later. But yeah, that's probably why there's all these really sort of odd choices with the game. You know, I say odd, especially with the enemies, because Mario is already a very odd franchise to begin with, you know, 2 Italian plumbers trying to save a princess from a dragon turtle thing, and they're friends with a mushroom guy, and they collect flowers to shoot fire and stuff. It's yeah. The Mario games were normal to begin with, but it just takes it to a whole new level of weirdness, which kind of works. But from what I heard, especially Mario Land 2, they went a bit too far with it, and then the higher ups are like, no, we need to tone it down a little bit and bring a bit more of those familiar elements into it. You know, Mario, you could avoid all of this if you just ask her name, because if she doesn't say, "Hi, I'm Daisy," then you know something's wrong here. So yeah, we'll just watch him scoot away. I just love to stomp on him, but we'll let him live. We'll let him live to see another day. Alright, so let's see if I can do this again. We'll let him live to sting other people. Great job, Mario! I'm not gonna say a word. And just keep moving. I will admit, this does where the difficulty ramps up a tiny bit here at Easter Island. Again, love the Easter Island statues in the background here. It's really nice. Alright, let's keep on moving. Yeah, another thing you kind of have to keep in mind, too, with the game when it came out is... the thing that people don't like is it's very short, and... Here's the thing about that, though. When the Game Boy first came out, it didn't have the the games, at least, didn't have that battery save feature, at least from what I'm aware. Like Zelda did when it came out on the NES, where you could save your game, so... And the Game Boy only had so much battery power. That's why the games are so short, so you can actually complete it in one sitting. Because the moment you turn that switch off, you're really done there. There's nothing else you could do. It's all over. It was kind of depressing when you think about it. We can never restart. We only have one life to give. I'm not gonna try. I probably shouldn't make such a profound statement playing a silly little Nintendo game here. But you get what I'm saying. You have to take into consideration of the time it came out. Because they were trying new things with the Game Boy. And even now, the Game Boy is looked back on fondly, and it's one of the most revolutionary systems of its time. Game & Watch started it, but then... the Game Boy just propelled it to a whole new level. And let's be honest, like, even our cell phone games we have would probably not exist without the Game Boy. Because it did so much. And there were so many other competitors trying to dethrone it, but none succeeded. Maybe because it was just nice and simple. And, like, especially something like the Game Gear, which I did own, but I didn't have many games for it. And the problem is that thing just eats through batteries so fast, it's insane. Even then, the games weren't that, like, memorable, too. Like, I did have Sonic 2 for it, but it wasn't that good. And I hear, like, the Mortal Kombat games on Game Gear, some of them were okay, but others were not so great. And that's the thing, too. Like, there were definitely watered-down versions on the Game Boy as well, but I think those few games on there that were just really unique and really good just stood out amongst the crowd, and that's why people just kept going back to them. Especially when Pokemon came out, it's like no other handheld console could compete, especially with Pokemon. Like the ability to fight other monsters and trade with your friends. It's oh crap. All right, so the thing we need to do going into the next level is get a super mushroom, or else we are screwed. That's how we get one of the secrets. All right, so let's just take our time here and jump. Here we go. Thank you. And again, the game's easy, but you do have to be careful with the platforming in certain areas just because of how, like, loose Mario feels to play. Yeah. But again, those complaints are warranted, but I still love it. Look at it. It's so charming. It's so innocent. It's of a time when video games were still trying to find themselves. I can't be mad at it. Look at that scruffy little fella. He just keeps on going.